Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do a preview, partial playthrough for a game that's currently on Kickstarter from Button Shy. It is called FantasyForm by Lucas Gentry, and I have a prototype preview version that was sent to me from Button Shy. So if you're curious to see how this game plays and watch a partial playthrough, stay tuned. So rather than explaining all the rules up front, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the way this is laid out, how this was set up, give you a couple general guidelines, and then just kind of teach you the rules as I play. So when you set up, you're first going to find these cards that have a little star on them. They're right here, and then this score track. You're going to take the basic form. It's the Alchemist, and it says art coming soon. So this, again, is a prototype version. And the Alchemist is my personal form. It says I may not attack my rival until if I still have this form. So I need to upgrade this to one of these elemental forms before I can actually attack the rival. This card represents the rival right now, and I'm sure there will be different art on that eventually as well. My basic form has a particular artifact, which right now starts as the torch. There's a little star there in the corner, and it has a little flame icon here, and it says once per turn you can look at the back of the rightmost card in the ethereal row. Well, this top row is the ethereal row, so I can look at the backmost card, or the back side of this rightmost card, and all of these cards have this on one side that explains some encounters and has market prices, and then on the other side it has an essence on one side, and then a companion or an artifact, or the whole card could be a form card. Now when you set up, you're going to have at the beginning one card discarded, so that's why this one's over here on the side. So that is my artifact, and that's going to allow me to look at that if I want. Now my guide is a companion, and it says once per turn I can move the rightmost card from the ethereal row to the left end. So if I use the torch and look at it and it's going to be something bad, I could put it down here, and then you'll see why that'll matter in just a few minutes. In this row, I've set up 3 encounter cards, so they have the descriptions of what's going to happen on my turn, and then 3 other cards with the essences at the bottom side to show me an artifact, a form, and a companion. And so I'm going to have an opportunity during the market phase to either buy an artifact, a form, or a companion from this market, or essences from this ethereal row. And then, like I said, this represents the rival. It just right now has some instructions that at the end of my turn, if there are 0 or 1 cards in the ethereal row, then that round ends. We reshuffle. This is going to flip over, and the rival is going to take on an elemental form. And when that happens, it's going to start attacking me. At that point, I have 4 rounds to defeat it before it either brings my health to 0, meaning I would have to defeat it by bringing its health to 0, or run out of time if those rounds expire. I'm playing on standard mode, which means I put this companion at level 8 on shards. So this represents my spending of how many shards I have. So that's a kind of a quick overview, not all the rules, but just kind of what these cards mean and why they're laid out the way they are. So for each turn, this is what happens. You're going to start with this encounter card and read what's at the top here. So the Outlands encounter here on the top part says, you rescue a smith lost in the waste. There's always some little storyline. And then it says you may buy an artifact with a weapon symbol for 3 shards. Gain 1 shard if there are none available. So I can look over here at my market, and none of these 3 have that weapons artifact. There's wind, but there's nothing showing that weapon. And so I'm going to gain a shard. Now I'm at 9. Then we go to the second card and read the forge encounter. This one says, you discover a bandit hideout that seems to be unguarded. Gain 1 shard or 2 if you have no elemental form. And I haven't upgraded yet. I still have a basic form, not an elemental. And so I'm going to gain 2 shards. So this game's starting out well. We'll see if it stays that way. And then I look at the market prices. And this shows me that these martial essences that have a little footprint on it, their value is 1 right now. It's going to be 1 next round and 1 next round. So no reason to buy them now. You want to buy low and sell high. These life essences that are green with hearts on them, they're 4 and then 5 and then 6. So I may want to buy that one because that is going to be worth 2 more, and I could sell it 2 rounds from now. This blue one, the Radiant Essence with the little star on it, that's 11. It's going to go to 7 and 8, so I definitely want to buy that. And then the pink one, which is here, a Shadow Essence, costs 2. It's going to be 5 next round, which is great, and then 4. So I definitely want to buy, now when I'm in the market phase, a Shadow Essence. And this little symbol of 2 on my Alchemist card tells me I can hold 2 essences in my pack. If I upgrade, for instance, this form can hold 3. And so depending on the form that I upgrade to later, I might be able to hold more than 2, but right now it's just 2. And I have a full health of 5. So the Shadow Essence says, discard to shuffle the ethereal row into the discard pile, then redeal the same number of cards back to the ethereal row. And all the shadow essences will have that same function if I wanted to use it for that purpose. I'm basically just buying it low so I can sell it for a more expensive value later. And then I think I will also buy this green one, the life essence. It says if I want to discard it, I can heal up to 3 points of damage. Sometimes that becomes necessary, but I'm just going to buy that as my second essence because right now it costs 4. And so I've spent 2 and 4, so I'm down to 5. And I've purchased those 2 essences. I'll just slide these down in the ethereal row. And so I've done my Outlands encounter, my Forge encounter. I've gone through the market phase. I could look here. I have an artifact of shielding bracers. You may reduce incoming damage by 1 by spending 2 shards, or reduce it by 2 by spending 3 shards. It only costs 2, but I think I'm going to keep my guide and my torch for their benefits. I can't afford this 20 cost form. It's going to take me a while to build up. And then healer could cost me 5, but that would use all of my shards. It says at the start of any turn you could pay a shard to heal 1 point of damage. That is nice, but I don't want to spend the last of my money to do that. And so I am going to take advantage of my torch ability before I finish off the round. It says once per turn. You may look at the back rightmost card. And so I'm going to look at this and see, well, what's coming up? It says a restorative spring bubbles with otherworldly heat. Gain 2 shards if at full health. Otherwise, deal a damage. Well, I am at full health. So I'm happy to leave that one there. There's no reason for me to use my guide and push it down. So the round is over, the turn is over. I've done my 2 encounters, finished the market phase, taken advantage of any cards that I wanted to, and now here's how we go to the next round. You take the rightmost card in the market, you discard it, and then you slide these 2 down in the market, and then the encounter on the far right becomes part of the market. These 2 slide down, and then the rightmost card in the ethereal row becomes your next encounter. So I had a chance to read this before. I probably should have read this one earlier when it was here just to see what it was, but I forgot to do that. So anyway, my Outlands encounter now says a restorative spring bubbles with otherworldly heat. Gain 2 shards at full health. I am at full health, so I go up to 7 shards. All right, and then I go to the Forge encounter. An elderly gnome brandishes a hexing stave against all magical beings. If you have an elemental form, either pay 4 shards or take 2 damage. I still have the basic form, not one of these elemental forms like water or air, and so I'm good. That doesn't harm me at all. And now I look down here. These paw print martial essences are 1 now, and they're going to be 3 later, so I might want to consider buying one of those. Right now I have a full pack, though. My green one, I bought cheap, and it's going to go to 6 next round, so I probably want to wait on that. But my pink one I bought for 2, and it's worth 5 now. So I'm going to go ahead and sell that. When you sell, you put it at the leftmost end of the ethereal row. And so I'm going to gain 5, so that puts me up to 12. And then I think I will buy this one and add that to my pack. So I still have 2, and that cost me 1 for the market price there. And now I'm going to use my torch and look at this card. And it says, inexperienced highwaymen set up a toll blockade near a recent rockfall. Pay 2 shards unless you have a leaf. I don't have a leaf. I think I will use my companion ability and slide these down and put it here. That could be that this is worse, who knows, but just so you can see how the torch and companion go together, I know that's bad, this one might not be. And then this one, when you slide down, this next one says, Raiders carrying elemental bane weapons strike without warning, take a damage, or 2 if you have an elemental form. Not really much I can do to get around that one. So now at the end of the round, I'm not going to buy anymore. My pack is full. I don't really want to buy any of these. I can't afford these, and I don't think I want the shielding bracers. So I'm going to discard this one, slide these down in this little conveyor mechanism. All right, and then bring this one down. All right, now this one again. A rock slide barely misses. Oh, we didn't know this one. A rock slide barely misses you, revealing a valuable treasure. Gain 2 shards unless you have water. And I don't have water. I only have a flame here as my symbols. Nothing on the essences, nothing on my alchemist, nothing on the companion. So I'm going to gain 2 shards. And so I'm going to go from 11 to 13. So I shift that. And then we go to the Forge encounter. We already read that. It says take a damage or 2 if you have an elemental form. I don't have elemental, so I am going to just take that 1 damage. And then now I'm at the market. All right, so I don't want to sell the martial paw print essence because it's still just worth 1, but I do want to sell the green one for 6. And so I'm going to slide these down. I'm going to raise 6, so now I'm up to 19. So now I'm getting closer to where I could purchase one of these forms. They're all 20 cost. So I'm getting close, and that's a key. You can't attack the rival until you have an elemental form. And so I'm going to have to get 20 or higher in order to do that. And there is a max of 25. You can't ever go above that. So there I've sold that one for 6. And now if I'm looking at the market, there is a blue one I could buy for 8 and then sell it for 10 next round. I've already got this this Marshall one here that I'm going to sell next round for 3, 6, 6, and 4 for the greens, 4, 2, and 3 for the pinks. So I think I will go ahead and buy this one for 8. So it's going to take me down to 11. And let's see, nothing here that I want to buy. Encounters and rival powers cannot cause you to lose essences. Oof, that is nice. There's so many of these things that make you lose essences, which can be really harmful. Let me see what this is for my torch. Use my torch to see this. All right. Outlaws waylay as you cross the outlands. Lose an essence of your choice unless you have a weapon. And I do not have a weapon. So good to know that. I could leave that there. Let it come. Go ahead and buy this. So I'm going to spend 6. It takes me down to 5. I'm going to put this Seeker's Satchel, replace it here. So I'm at 5. And now, any card that would cause me to lose an essence, I don't have to lose it. And I know that's coming up, so that's going to be good. All right. So good thing I checked that and figured that out. All right. Now, end of the round. So we flip this over to the discard, slide these down, flip my rightmost encounter to the market, slide these down, flip this one. And so now you can see I am down to 1 at the end of this round because I'm going to finish this round with probably just 1 card there. We'll see. I might end up being able to stretch it 1 more. If that happens, then we're going to flip this over. They're going to find one of those elemental forms and then start attacking me. So, all right, so now we go. So outlaws waylay you as you cross the outlands, lose an essence of your choice unless you have a weapon. I don't have a weapon, but I do have this Seeker's Satchel, which tells me I'm not going to lose my essence. Then I go to the Forge encounter. I keep forgetting to look at that ahead of time. A mindless shambler lurches in from the waste, slowly pursuing travelers. Lose an essence unless you have a bow. I guess this is nice because the encounters and rival powers can't cause me to lose essences. So those would have both caused me to lose these, and I didn't have to lose either one. Now I look at the market. Okay, so now I can sell this one for 3. So I bought it for 1, selling for 3. And then now I can sell this one for 10. Yeah, maybe I'm going to be okay here. So that's going to get me up to 18. So I'm getting, again, close to being able to buy one of those elemental forms. So green is 6. It's going to go to 4 and 5. Paw is 3. It's going to go to 1 and 3. Blue is 10. It's going to go 8 and 8. So there's really nothing up in there in the ethereal row that I want to buy. I don't really want this companion, the one that I had to begin with. This mercenary... Oh, I did that in the wrong place. Sorry. This should be here. Not there. I put it in the wrong place. So that may have changed a turn there. Because not having that companion, I forget. I think I used the torch when I shouldn't have had it. So, yeah. So I gained myself an advantage. Little cheating there. Sorry about that. But hopefully we found it. That's one of the things. You have to read the cards really careful, and you have to put them in the right spot. The artifacts always go on the form, and the companion always goes on your score. So sorry about that little mistake there, but hopefully that makes sense. And it did mean that I knew a little bit of an advantage ahead of time. Would I have bought that artifact without knowing that? Maybe, maybe not. So we'll see. I was kind of leaning that way, but knowing it definitely pushed me over the edge. So a little bit of cheating there. So sorry about that. But I think I've straightened it out now. All right. So looking at these, this companion could replace this one. This one lets me move something to the end, but I don't have a torch anymore, so I'm not going to know what I'm moving unless I suppose if you played this game enough, you could memorize what's on the back of these cards, but I'm nowhere near that. I think I've played 8 or 10 times, but nowhere near that level. So this one just has all these tags, which can be very helpful, and I'm not really able to buy a form yet, so maybe I'll go ahead and invest that. So I'm going to buy this companion for 6, which takes me down to 12. And then put this here. And again, not going to buy any of those. All right, so end of the turn. Flip this one over, slide these down. And because I sold those 2, I did extend the round a little bit here. And flipping this one down. Strangely, the outlands are peaceful and calm. Travelers venture forth. You may hire an available companion with 2 fewer shards than their listed cost. So I don't want to hire the companion I just got rid of, so I'm not going to take advantage of that. And then the Forge encounter. A treasure is not bidden, but it is trapped. You may take 2 damage to gain 4 shards. If you have the symbol, the wizardry symbol, I think that is, then only take 1 damage. I don't have that. I've got hammer and magic and axe and sword, but I don't have the wizardry, like the wizard hat. I think that's what that is. So I can take 2 damage to gain 4 shards, which I think I'm going to do. It's risky, but I need shards to be able to eventually get up to where I can buy a form, because I can't attack the rival until I get to that spot. All right, so I've taken those 2 steps. Now I'm looking at the market. There is a martial one I could buy for 1 and sell for 3, but if I buy that, then it's going to end this round. Although I should keep it in my pack, and 1 is as cheap as it can be. The blue one is at 8 right now, which isn't terrific, and so I think I will not buy the blue. I'll go ahead and buy that one for 1, though. So I'll get down to 13, put this one in my pack. It is going to make this round end, but this carries over. What gets reset is everything up here. And so that's the end of my market phase. And instead of doing the whole conveyor belt, when this is down to 0 or 1, this gives you the instructions. We're going to flip this. We're going to take all these cards, and it doesn't explicitly say in the directions whether you're supposed to shuffle before you do this step, but to me it seems like it makes sense that you would just shuffle them, and then you're going to look through this deck, and the first form you find, so there's a companion, an artifact, an artifact, an artifact, a companion, a form. The first form you find becomes your rival. And our rival is going to be the Earth Elemental form, and you flip this card over. Now it's got round 4, 3, 2, 1, so we're on round 4, and it has a health of 7, and it's going to cause me to take 2 damage, or 1 if my rival has 5 or fewer health. Okay, so if I, as the rival, have 5 or fewer. So if I have fewer than 5 health, I'll just take 1, but if I'm at full health, I'm going to take 2. All right, and so then let's just shuffle these up and reset the round. All right, so we're going to have encounter, 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 market, 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 and then our ethereal row. And this needs to go till there's 6. So there's 5 there, 1 in the pack, that is 6. Okay, and now I've got this rival. At the end of this round, he's going to attack me. 1 at this point, because I'm below 5. So I need to keep that in mind. I have to have 4. At first, I have to get an elemental, and then unless that elemental has a special attacking ability, I have to pay 4 shards to take its health down, and I got to reduce it from 7 to 0. So it's going to be pretty tricky. All right, so let's go ahead and start this round. It says, Outlands encounter. A tired messenger arrives at camp with an urgent message. Guild fees have come due. Pay 2 shards. Bummer. Shards are hard to come across. So now I'm down to 11. And then we go to the Forge encounter. A rejuvenating wind blows across the Outlands, carrying the sounds of distant battle. Gain 1 available martial essence or heal 1 point of damage. Let's see. I will go ahead and gain that martial essence, because I'm going to turn around and be able to sell it for 3 right away. So I will take that and risk staying at my 2 health. All right, so now I'm going to the market phase. These are at 3, so I'm going to want to sell those. 5 becomes 7, then 8, so I may want to buy that green one. There are no pink ones or blue ones out there to consider, so let's sell first. We'll slide these down, and I'm going to sell both of these for 3 and 3. So that's going to get me up to 17. And then this 5 can become 8 in a couple rounds, so I'm going to go ahead and buy this, so I go back to 12. This is a little tedious of flipping this card back and forth, but we'll put that in my pack. And let's see, I could change out my satchel, but that thing has been so powerful, keeping me from losing my essences. If I traded it out, this says gain 4 shards when you equip this, but pay 5 additional. Yeah, I've used that before and didn't find it particularly helpful. I can't afford the fire form yet, so that's going to be the end of round. So I'm going to discard this, slide these over. That becomes the next part of the market. These slide over. This one's going to become, and I don't have my torch anymore, so I can't see what's coming. That's going to become the next encounter. And so in our encounter now, Outlands encounter. Acidic fog drifts across the path and leech you of your strength. Lose 3 shards unless you have wind. And I do not have wind. This mercenary has all kinds of fighting stuff, but I've been getting attacked by other things. It's going to knock me down to 9, which is terrible. Then I go to the Forge encounter. A petty noble is desperate to buy an essence. No questions asked. You may discard a martial or shadow essence from your pack to gain twice its market value. All right, well, I don't have a martial or shadow essence in my pack, so I can't take advantage of that. Now, this life essence is worth 7 now, but if I wait another turn, it's worth 8. And these martial essences are worth 3 each, and they're not going to go up. So I don't want to buy those. Healer's hit. Whenever you're healed, increase healing by 1 point. That's nice, but I would be losing my safety against encounters and rivals that steal my essences. So I don't think I want to go that route. Still can't buy a form. So into the turn, sliding this over, flipping this one, sliding these down, and next up, Outlands encounter a massive lock box is immovable but not unbreakable. Gain the least expensive essence if you have a hammer or a sword. I have both of those in my mercenary, so finally he's helping me do something. So gain the least expensive essence. Well, the least expensive, there's only martials, so that's what I'll gain. All right, and then we go to the forge encounter. A guild member has more essences than she can transport. You may purchase an available shadow or life essence at half price rounded up. Well, there are no shadow or life essences out here, so no benefit there. But I am going to sell the 2 that I have in my pack, so we'll slide these down. This martial essence that I just got for free, I'm going to sell for 3. That gets me to 12. And then this life essence, I'm going to sell for 8, which gets me to 20. So now is the risk. I have 20. Do I want to try to buy this because it's about to disappear? And if that disappears, I don't know when the next elemental form is going to come in here. But it puts me at 0 shards, which means I have no buying power, which is going to be really difficult to then come back. I have to have buying power to be able to attack that one. So I think, let's see, what's coming up here? The green ones, they're going to go down and down. The marshal's going to go down. Maybe it will go up again. It looks like it's going to be hard for me to make money. This companion doesn't really look any better than the companion I have. So, boy, that's a tough one. Yeah, I don't see any way to really gain any money. So I guess I'll risk it. Should I? Maybe not. I'll see if I can go another round or 2. We'll see. Okay, we'll flip this over. Maybe something good will happen. All right, so I'm going to slide these down, flip this over in the market, slide these down, flip this over as the encounter. All right, let's see what happens. Did another one come out? Nope, so there is no form out there now. Crystal Vipers shed their highly valued and delicate skin. Gain 1 shard for every empty space in your pack. Oh, that's nice. So I have empty space now. That's 2 shards. Unfortunately, no form to buy this round. Forge encounter. A stinging dust cloud stirs up as you come from the outlands. Take a damage unless you have water. I do not have water, so now I'm down to 1 health. That's getting a little scary. Now, if I can buy an elemental form, I go to full health. But I have to be able to buy it, and one has to show up first. So looking here at the market, I do have lots of money. I could buy these for 1, and they're going to eventually be worth 2, but that's 2 rounds down the road. It's not a huge gain. I could buy the green one for 5, and then it's going to go 4 and then 7. I don't really want to buy both because that's going to end the round. And that means I'm going to get attacked and move closer to the end game. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and buy this one for 5, which takes me down to 17. And we're not going to buy anything here. And so that'll end the round. So we discard, we slide these over, we flip this one, we slide these over, we flip this one. So this might be the last round. We'll see what happens. Outlands encounter. An ancient font of power emits raw magical energy. You may buy any number of essences for 1 shard less than the listed market price. So basically I can get this one for free and gain $1. So I'm going to do that. All right. Uh-oh. Forge encounter. Take 2 damage unless you have a flame. I do not have a flame, and I take 2 damages, and I am dead. So I never was even able to get my form. Couldn't even get to that next phase of the game. Had I been able to, we'll just give you a quick run through on how that works. So let's say that I had actually bought one of the forms. We'll just grab this one here. I would have put this in place of it, wherever that would go. That would be my form. I would start with this much health, and it would actually come into play with full health. It says if an encounter or rival power would deal 2+ damage, take only 1. It only has 4, though. So that would have been my elemental form had I not lost too soon. And you can see that was coming up next. So had I been able to avoid this, so if I would have been paying closer attention, it would have been smart for me to swap out this satchel for the torch. I just wasn't paying attention. Then I would have had the flame and I could avoid that damage. But I wasn't reading ahead. So this game, if you want to be good at it, you really do have to be looking ahead and paying attention to what's coming. When you have the torch, peeking ahead, Unfortunately, when I have the torch, I usually remember to look ahead, but I almost always forget to read what's here on this first card, knowing that's going to be the forge encounter next. One of the reasons I'm just not very good at this game. So as you can see, that's how the game plays. It's got an interesting conveyor belt scenario. You're trying to buy low, sell high. You've got this market economy you're trying to develop. But I found it very difficult to try to get enough money in shards to be able to buy a form early. I think one time I was able to get enough to buy it in the first round, but usually it's the second round. And then often when you buy that, you can only have a maximum of 25. So when you buy that for 20, you have almost nothing to buy new ones, and then you have a hard time getting that economy going again. So it is a really tricky economy balancing game, solo only game. But if you're interested, let me show you a little bit about the Kickstarter page, and so you can know if this might be a game that is of interest to you based on the price and some of the other features that come in the Kickstarter version. All right, first we'll take a quick look at the BGG page for FantasyForm by Lucas Gentry and put out by Button Shy. You can see again it is a solo player game, 10 to 30 minutes. It usually takes me a pretty good chunk of time. I mean, that took me around 20 minutes and I lost. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable time, but 10 is, you might lose in 10 minutes. I've had that happen. To win, it's taken me 30 to 40, so that may be a little light. And you can see that there are some pictures on here, but you've seen the current preview type cards. And here it gives a little bit of the story. Alchemists study the secrets of transforming their bodies into powerful elemental forms, capable of impossible feats. A rival alchemist seeks to abuse this ability for their own gain. Push your skill to the limits and defeat them before they reach their full power. So we've got commodity speculation and a solo game. And then this game was put out by Lucas Gentry, who made Space Shipped. So if you have played Space Shipped, from what I've heard, I have not played it. It plays pretty similarly, but with a space theme instead of a fantasy theme. And there are a couple of expansions for the Space Shipped. So a few expansions. So if you're interested in that, which takes me to the Kickstarter page. So on the Kickstarter page, you can watch this little 45-second video if you'd like. You can see there's about 4 days to go now, so you are running out of time, but hopefully you'll be able to see this in time to check it out if you're interested. And it gives you a little bit of the storyline, tells you a little bit about the game, which I've shown you some of the gameplay. And then it gives you a little bit more of a detailed how to play, but I think everything that I've covered covers more than what's given here. There is a couple things that I would mention here as it kind of explains, the steps like I did. There is one thing on here I noticed. It kind of makes it look like when you read this direction, you're supposed to bring this one down to the encounter row, but it is very clear in the rules it's the rightmost one, which makes sense based on what some of the other cards say. So I think it's just from this row bringing it down, but it is the rightmost card. And then it shows you about flipping this over to keep score once you've gone from the basic to the elemental. And you can see this is the rival card with different art. As I showed you before, mine didn't really have any art on the other side of this. It just had a 1 and some instructions. So I'm sure this will be more like the art in the final form. And then there is a print and play version if you'd like to check that out. There's a few playthroughs and reviews, so if you want to look at someone who maybe has a little bit better success than me, you can do that. And if you order this Kickstarter, you'll also get this Frozen Over expansion as part of the Kickstarter for free. And then here are the different levels. You can get the print and play of both for $3. You can get the printed and shipped form for $12 to get both the game and its expansion. If you want to get Space Shipped, the original, you can get the new form expansion in that for $22. And then if you want to get the new fantasy form with its expansion and Space Shipped with 2 of its other expansions, you can get that for $32. And then if you're a retailer, you can look at that. There are other add-ons that are possible. If you get the Space Shipped, I think it will come with this nice cover. This preview copy of FantasyForm didn't have any kind of cover with it, but I'm sure it will come with one. And then down here, if you're curious to see what other aspects of this Space Shipped game are, you can read a little bit more about it down here. So again, if we look at the pledge values, if you are a BGOTMC member, Board Game of the Month Club member, you can go there for your special rate, print and play, just FantasyForm, FantasyForm International, FantasyForm with base Space Shipped, and FantasyForm with the Space Shipped collection. So there you go. Then, of course, the retail. So there you have it. I have played this 10 or 12 times, and I have only won once. Even this time I cheated and I still lost. So it is a tough game. I was playing it standard starting with 8 shards. I could have moved it up to 10 to go easy mode. And so you can do that. Or you can go down to 6 for difficult mode. I don't ever imagine being able to do that. But maybe if you're much better at commodity speculation and better at remembering to read ahead and figure out how you can buy and sell other things. I get so focused on the shards, I forget to think about these other things often. But I have had a really difficult time winning this game. So if you like a tough challenge and you like a puzzle and you like that commodity speculation aspect, I think you might enjoy FantasyForm by Lucas Gentry and put out by Button Shy. I'll have a link to the Kickstarter down below, and if you're interested, click on that, go check it out, read a little bit more of that detail, and hopefully this playthrough partially, well, I guess it was a full playthrough since I ended up losing so early, you hopefully got a feel for how the game plays, and maybe you saw some other mistakes I made. You can let me know down in the comments. I'll try to keep getting better at this game. Maybe you saw much better moves than I made. Probably you saw much better moves than I made. So if you have any questions, though, leave me a question down in the comments below. And if you wouldn't mind clicking on that thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. And if you would like to subscribe to the channel, that would be terrific as well. As always, this is Billy Indiana signing off. Thanks for watching.